I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank Democracy Now!, Democrats.com, the UAW, Progressive Democrats of America, and my friends from 1199 for being here. My name is Jonathan Tasini. I'm running for the United States Senate for New York to stop this. Now, we are here today to give voice to the millions of people who are shouldering the cost, financial and psychological, of the unpatriotic and undemocratic behavior of those who run Goldman Sachs and the banks and the other financial institutions who destroyed our economy. Right. And we are here today to say, never again. We will not let the robbery of the American people happen again.
Never again.
Never again. Never again. Never again.
Now, we are proud Americans. We are proud partly because our country was founded on important progressive ideals. Our Constitution, in its preamble, calls upon us to promote the general welfare. Now, that idea is pretty simple. We share the wealth, share the great prosperity of the richest country in human history. The people running Goldman Sachs and many of the banks and financial institutions care only about promoting their own welfare. They line their pockets with tens of millions of dollars and build astonishing wealth while they gamble with the rest of the lives of the rest of Americans and say to the rest of us, let them eat cake.
That's right.
Because that is often what is left for the rest of America.
That's right.
Whose jobs have disappeared, whose wages have been cut, who enter their retirement years, not with plans to kick back after years of contributing to our society, but with great fear and anxiety. That is not the America we believe in. This is not the America we ask our young men and women to die for. This is not an America that can be a symbol for the rest of the world. At a time of economic crisis, to give out massive bonuses to a very few, bonuses earned on the backs of hardworking Americans and made possible by our tax dollars, that is un-American and unpatriotic.
Yes, right. Yes, that's right.
This rally and our plea should not be motivated by revenge, because revenge is fleeting and short-sighted. We want real change, and we want it now.
That's right.
That's right.
Now, to have real change, we need to speak two truths. The first is that the robbery that has bankrupted the American people is not one that began 2 or 3 years ago. The American people have had to put up with this for 30 years, working harder and harder and being more productive every year, but watching their wages flatline. The audacity of greed has brought not the promotion of the general welfare, but the greatest divide between rich and poor in 100 years.
Absolutely.
And the second truth is that this crisis is a bipartisan responsibility.
Absolutely. Yes, it is.
The message of Massachusetts is that the people believe that the system is broken, that it is dysfunctional, that too many people believe that their elected leaders are not doing the business of the people, that politicians think that they own the seats they occupy.
That's right.
And can ignore the voters. And you know what? The voters are right.
That's right.
That is exactly right.
Now, I am proud to be a Democrat, and I am running to strengthen our party and make it better. But to do so, the Democratic Party must return to its roots.
Right.
To be the voice of the working person, not the voice of Wall Street and the corporate elite.
Right. Yes.
So how do we bring real change and end the dysfunction of our system and make sure this never happens again? The first thing is, I call on my opponent, Kirsten Gillibrand, to stop taking the massive amounts of money she is receiving from Wall Street and the very corporate interests that are blocking real change, and to give every dollar she has received from Wall Street back to those people who destroyed our economy.
Money for jobs.
That money is legalized corruption and is hurting every New Yorker and the American people. The second thing is that I promise, if I am elected, to push for a permanent tax, financial transaction tax on Wall Street. That tax, and I hope that the President of the United States will adopt that financial transactions tax, not just a bank tax short term, because that tax can raise $200 billion a year for the American people. It's not just to hold down speculation, and it should not be seen as a penalty or a punishment. We are not out for revenge. We are out for justice and for what's good for America. That tax should be seen as the proper contribution that Wall Street makes to make sure that we have a proper society, a society that builds roads, that builds schools, and all the systems that allow these people to make a good living. And finally, we have to put the power back in the hands of people. We need to support the building of a strong labor movement. Because that is the only force that can make sure big banks, the big corporations, and the very powerful in America act in a patriotic fashion and in the best interest of Americans. So in this crisis, I want to say that we should be optimistic because there's a great opportunity. People's anger can be channeled in a positive direction because most people want the same thing. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, whether you're liberal or conservative, whether you live in the city or upstate, you want to feel secure, you want to feel that justice guides the way in which we share the great wealth of our country, and you want to be treated with dignity and respect. But real change cannot wait. Thank you very much.